Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Fireside Chat for the Fire This Time. My name is Cezar Williams. I am the artistic director of the Fire This Time Festival, and it is my honor to welcome to the Fireside Andrea Frierson, whose play Houston will be featured in our 10-minute play festival season 14 next month. Andrea, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today, and thank you for having me in the festival.
It is my absolute pleasure. Your play, one of the things that we really, really enjoy doing at the Fire This Time Festival is kind of showing the dynamism or the diversity of Blackness. All the different ways that we can be Black and all the different ways we can express ourselves. And every season when we do our submissions, we get like 50, 60 submissions, but there's always something that's in the universe or in the ether in terms of like a theme that develops. And this season, with all the submissions we received and with many of the plays that are in the festival, I guess I would describe it as our need to be seen and our need to control the manner in which we are seen. And your play just does a wonderful job of talking about this couple in the 70s in the South, these Black people who are classical music singers. They're classical singers. And I just so appreciated the panel, appreciated it. And that's why we are honored to have you in the festival. So thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us about your play.
Well, it is inspired by my parents, who were New York City opera singers. And they met at Juilliard, and they had separate careers, but they also, as time went on in their marriage, they did really well as concert artists, so that was the inspiration for it.
Beautiful. So this story is personal in a way.
Yes. In the play, the couple, the husband is desiring of more recognition and more respect. And the wife wants that too, but she wants her connection to her husband.
Yeah.
And so I think, I guess the different ways that we love and the value of connection being maybe more important than the accolades.
I love that you said that, because I think nowadays, so the play takes place in the 70s, but with social media, that's actually a big thing. Like, so many of us are longing for a recognition and connection from these other people, and maybe we're not focused as much as we are on the people close to us. And so it's beautiful that you're taking this this period piece, we'll call it. You're saying something I think will be useful and helpful and will resonate with us even in 2022, 2023.
And may I add that part of the plot, I don't want to give it away, but it takes place in a place called Houston, but it's also the same day as the aborted Apollo mission, Apollo 13. So you have Houston, we have a problem, and it's overreaching double entendre, I guess.
Yes, and once people see the play, they will know exactly how apt that phrase is. So I don't want to say any more because I don't want to give it away either. So I guess shifting gears a little bit to focus a little bit more on you and your career. What other projects are you working on? Are you excited about? What else are you passionate about right now?
Well, right now I'm writing a book.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It is a coming of age memoir, and really about my growing up in Manhattan from the 1960s to 1970s, and being the daughter of these two people. And like any family, you know, I mean, I grew up in a very unique way. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was young, my grandmother, like a lot of African Americans, was, you know, deeply, you know, connected to her spiritual roots in the Christian faith. But my parents were influenced by Norman Vincent Peale and the power of positive thinking. So we went to church at Lincoln Center, at Alice Tully Hall. And so that was my first church experience,
Wow.
you know, in those rooms. So I grew up in a unique way, but then, like every family, we had our share of dysfunction. So the book is called Voice Lessons.
Voice. I love that title.
Thanks.
What were you like as a young person?
Well, I'm an only child, and only children can be really annoying in pointing out that they're only children all the time. I found that, but I am. So I grew up in a kind of very adult, with an adult perspective on things, you know, and I felt a lot of pressure to be like an adult, you know, to be, you know, like, for example, when my parents would get phone calls, I knew that it could be an agent or it could be someone. So, you know, I just sort of fashioned myself to be like a little tiny secretary, you know. So I guess I was precocious in some ways. I was very sensitive and artistic. I love to draw, you know. I actually don't mind, even though it can be lonely. I'm able to spend a lot of time with myself. I'm always able to find something to entertain myself, you know.
That's a good skill to have.
Yes.
Especially as we had this lockdown, so a lot of us were isolated.
Right. And my parents exposed me. They did a good job with that. They exposed me to a lot of music, a lot of different kinds of music. Of course, I heard classical music all the time, but I knew I didn't want to do that, you know. So, you know, but they also were very steeped in, I guess, spirituals, and, you know, and the meaning of them, and some of the people like Hall Johnson that arranged them. So they were very much standing on the shoulders of the African American musicians that came before them. You know, my mother was, as a young singer, she was on a train. Her first singing job was with a little singing group called the Eureka Singers, and they traveled across the country and sang at churches and things like that. And one time the train pulled in, was going to take a half-hour break, and so the people in the group got up to stretch their legs, and she was walking along the train platform, and coming towards her, this beautiful African American woman in a fur coat, and it turned out to be Marian Anderson. And she was just, you know, when you meet a famous person and you just can't even really bring yourself to tell them how much they mean to you.
Yes.
And so Miss Anderson said something to her like, "It's a lovely evening, isn't it?" And my mother was like, yes, it is. But she, you know, but anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but I guess I was talking about the shoulders we stand on.
Yeah, it's beautiful. No, thank you so much for sharing that story. What if you could go back, what would you tell your childhood self? Like, is there anything you would say?
Oh God, mistakes are all right. In fact, mistakes are the pathway to learning. You know, that was why I was wound very tight as a child, partly because I was around so many adults and I saw them doing things and I thought I was supposed to know that too, you know. So I was perfectionistic, you know, if that's a word. I was a perfectionist. So I wish I knew that it was okay. It was okay to make mistakes.
Is that something you've embraced now?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? Something else you'd like to talk about? Another aspect of the play, your career, anything?
Well, I was glad to hear you say that the festival is about, the many varied ways that we express ourselves as African Americans, because that I have often felt like I wanted to be more connected, and often I was. I mean, I did not come along in the theater in a time when there was a lot of non-traditional casting. So a lot of my early shows, and Nobody Knows, UB for Color Girls on Broadway, those were specific to my culture.
Mm-hmm.
And later, once people like Audra and those people came along, then it was very outside the box. But anyway, some of my interests have left me feeling a little like alienated from my own people, and I would like for that not to be the case. So I'm glad and I appreciate that you and your fellow producers have created a space where so many different types of expression can coexist.
It is our pleasure, and I say this from my heart. Your work, your being, your history, your career, you are adding something to this stew that we need and that is so very appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, everyone, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day. Please come and check out the festival. Season 14, Andrea's play Houston will be featured, and I can guarantee you are going to love it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.